Hello everyone, my name is Lazman and in this video I am going to talk about the Interrogator and its differences from the Shoplifter. So the Interrogator is a role that we recently added in an update, and what it can do is the Interrogator can interrogate another player, seeing his card and notifying him that he was interrogated. Which means that it's kind of like the ex-cop who sees a player or a shoplifter who steals a player, except the player knows that someone saw their card. Well, the interrogator saw their card. So recently I was playing in a game with the interrogator in a setup, and the interrogator claimed first and said, "Oh, I saw this player's ex-cop." And I happen to have recently been writing the wiki page for Interrogator, and what I wrote there, one of the things, is that if you see an innocent player, you should probably hold on to what they are. Just say that you saw them, but not what they were. And the person who was the interrogator in that game asked, well, this is stupid, why should I wait for the interrogator if the shoplifter, who does like the exact same thing, claims first, or the ex-cop who checks a player's card? And in this video I'm gonna go over why it's a little bit different for the interrogator. So first we need to understand, why do we want the shoplifter to claim first? And the reason basically is that we don't want someone to claim, "Oh, I'm hostage," or I'm any other role, and then someone else to come out and say, "Oh, well, I stole it from you, yeah, you're telling the truth," because obviously if someone is bank robber, then they know, usually, unless that other player is like a shoplifter who stole it, or a wildcard who picked a bank robber from the bottom, they know that player is telling the truth. So it's easy to say, "Oh yes, I can confirm that player." But before they say their role, the bank robber doesn't know what their role is, unless they're the plant who saw them. So that is why the shoplifter generally claims first and says, "Oh, I stole that player and he was that role." And that way the player can say, "Oh yes, I was indeed that role," and they can trust each other, the player and the shoplifter, because the shoplifter knew that player's role, and that's why the player has reason to believe that that other player is actually the shoplifter. Unless they're just a bank robber who guessed, but people rarely ever guess in this game. And as ex-cop, it's a very similar thing. Like, if a bank robber is like, "Oh, I'm ex-cop and I checked the player who already claimed," it makes them suspicious, which is why an ex-cop who checked the player should usually claim first. So why is the interrogator different? Well, first and foremost, the interrogator, while checking another player's card, notifies them that they were checked. So if that player is an innocent role, they will say, "Oh yes, I was interrogated," thereby confirming the interrogator. So the interrogator doesn't have to say what their player's role is to confirm himself. He can just say that he was interrogated, and he will be confirmed by that innocent player who will say, "Yes, I was indeed interrogated." And then the reason that the interrogator and that player would probably want to wait on claiming is because this might lead a bank robber to claim that role. And in that case, the bank robber is going to be counterclaiming two people at once, and the bank robber is going to be in a very tight spot. Obviously, this doesn't apply for when the interrogator sees a bank robber. He can just say, "Oh, I interrogated that person and he was a bank robber," right away. Because the bank robber is not going to confirm the interrogator, obviously. And you might say here, well, what if the interrogator claim and the person whom the interrogator claims to have checked are actually both bank robbers? And yes, that is very possible. If two people confirm each other, they can always be a pair of bank robbers. And this doesn't just apply to the interrogator, it applies to any role. Like, let's say a negotiator revealed, and the detective is like, "Oh, well, the negotiator has the same alignment with another player." Those two people, that other player and the detective, could both be bank robbers. So doesn't just apply to the interrogator, and it doesn't make the interrogator claim any scummier than any other claim confirming another player. And which is why I think that it is just as legitimate for the interrogator to wait if they see an innocent player as it would be for any other role with information that doesn't have to claim first, like Shoplifter, to avoid serious suspicion on them. And obviously, if a plant checks a player, they can't really say that they interrogated them, because the player's not gonna actually be interrogated unless an interrogator checked them as well, but the plant would have no idea whom they checked. So this hopefully will help explain why I think that if the interrogator sees an innocent player, they should wait on revealing what that player is. Thank you for watching, and bye.